Hey guys, welcome back. And today we'll be talking about asymmetric warfare and its impact upon Australia's defence planning and the relevance that it has for our strategic planning for the future. So, to start off, I'll discuss what asymmetric warfare is, just so you have an understanding, because some people don't understand it. Asymmetric warfare is this concept where you avoid direct confrontation. Your goal is never really to stop the opponent head on. You're never trying to do that. What the concept of asymmetric warfare is it's an ideology of whittling down the opponent, slowly destroying their forces to the point that it's unviable to maintain and keep an offensive going. It's this concept where you look at vital opponent assets and you plan to take those out. Take, for example, China, right? They're building these hypersonic missiles that can supposedly destroy American aircraft carriers, or LHDs. That's where these come in. That's asymmetric warfare. They're not trying... Yes, they want to defeat America outright, but they're looking at it going, how can we make it too risky and too dangerous for America to engage in a war? How can we get an asset that will destroy the opponent's major surface combatants, or the main projection power that they have, and how can we use that to bring down enemy assets? And that's the concept of asymmetric warfare. If China, hypothetically, their hypersonic systems can do what they claim they can, then they will cause huge amounts of damage to America. America will simply not be able to maintain a war. Will these systems be able to target the smaller warships, like the destroyers and cruisers? It's quite possible they won't. And whilst I do have doubts about the ability of these things to actually target, aircraft carriers, you have to understand the concept is quite sound. It's quite reasonable. Yes, the hypersonic system may not be able to target the smaller warships or the destroyers and that, but it can target the larger, higher priority ships that are much of the reason why the fleet exists there, why the fleet is in the region. And that's where it really comes to pass. This is where it comes in for Australian doctrine. Australia is faced with a very large border. We have a lot of territory, but we don't have a large military. We can't afford to create and buy huge amounts of armed assets. That's just the reality of it. And we don't have this ability to threaten an opponent with a counter-invasion. We don't have that capacity. In fact, I, as an Australian, have to argue that I don't believe we have the capacity to outright defend ourselves as we are. I do not believe that we have the equipment required to protect our country from a possible invasion, even as of right now. I don't think so. And this is where the big problem lies. The big problem is that we have to find ways around this. How can we protect Australia and all of its territory without actually, having the population required? How do we do that without having the military size? And that's where asymmetric warfare comes in. Use of drone systems. So the Loyal Wingman's a prime example, and the Ghost Shark are beautiful options. Well, not the Loyal Wingman anymore, it's the Ghost Bat. But use of assets like the Ghost Shark or the Ghost Bat to supplement and increase our strike capacity against hostiles that come down here are a vital role in asymmetric warfare. Potentially buying a long-range drone that can carry anti-shipping missile systems, I think, would be a very viable or useful option that should be considered. As are other purchases, such as our decentralization, movement away from armoured vehicles and a step towards long-range missile systems that would offer us a much greater deterrence ability. You see, this is where it all comes in asymmetrical warfare, and it ties into one of my previous videos, the Why We're Ditching Armoured Vehicles video. The big thing to understand here is that these systems allow us to fight an opponent, but we're not there. It's low loss. There's less cost for us to maintain such a force, and it allows us to fight in a way that suits our needs. To fight a ground war, we're going to need possibly thousands of vehicles, and we're going to need many, many more soldiers than what we have. But to use these missile systems, on the other hand, yes, with the vehicles, we probably will be giving up territory. We probably will lose a bit of area at first. However, this is where the systems come in, right? Anti-ship missile systems, so then naval strike missile, which is going to be, I believe I messed up a little bit with my defense video regarding the vehicles, I said it was land-based. The thing is, it's able to be based on both ships and land. So the thing is, what this allows us to do is it allows us to target an opponent at a much longer range, take out enemy ships in a much more effective way, and what it allows us to do is prioritize targets. You drive a car, so that it can be put into the back of a Bushmaster, which we have thousands of, by the way. You drive the Bushmaster up to the coast, get within range, fire a salvo of missiles, and then just drive away and just run for the hills. That allows you to fight a quasi-guerrilla style war, where you're targeting high-profile, high-value targets, and the opponents are losing large, expensive assets in return for very little. Because, well, let's be real. You got a missile that costs, $500,000. You got 2 or 3 of those in your launch system. That's $1.5 million. Now we throw in our $500,000 car, so that's $2 million. But that can be used to sink a $1 billion ship with many, many more assets on board, with all the personnel, equipment, fuel, water, all these supplies that can't be easily replaced. And you can destroy that. And this is where the whole concept for Australia lies. It's that we have to step away from conventional thinking. We can't maintain a defence of our continent. And that's what defence is about, right? If we wanted to attack people overseas, we'd have an offence force. But we've got a defence force. The job of it is to defend Australia and its borders, protect Australia and its national interest. And this is also a big point for the naval side of things, for the argument for corvettes, which I believe is very important. You see, the whole issue at hand lies in this regard. Yes, we need bigger surface combatants that can punch above their weight, but we don't want too many, because otherwise we're stuck in this concept of a symmetrical warfare type, where we're throwing large, expensive assets into fights where they possibly won't come back. And when a ship costs, $100+ million to $1 billion, right? Because that's how much one of our guided missile destroyers cost at the moment, I believe. One of our destroyers costs about $1 billion. That gets destroyed by another $1 billion warship. It's going to be cost effective. It's going to be equal. But corvettes and smaller warships open up this category, open up this ideology that you can get destroyed by a $200 million warship. Your $1 billion warship can be destroyed by that. And suddenly, it's no longer cost effective. And these smaller ships are harder to detect. They're faster. They're more maneuverable. They're more difficult to find and destroy. So then you've got you've got a disproportional concept that you've got to deal with here. You've got to send a multi-billion dollar warship, possibly several fleets or drones, combat aircraft, to try and find it, locate it, and then destroy it with all your assets. And this is the whole problem. It's that at the end of the day, that's what asymmetrical warfare is about. Yeah, sure, cool, good job, buddy. You sunk our corvette. That was horrible. We lost 100 people. But we also managed to disable your fancy new destroyer or your fancy new cruiser that is worth 5 times the value. Or we managed to take out your LHD or aircraft carrier. Yeah, we lost our ship, and that sucks, right? That's horrible. That's how war is. Death is horrible. It's a vile, heinous thing. But that's the reality of it. We lost a lot of people, but you lost more. And think about that. That's the concept of asymmetrical warfare. And that's why it's so relevant for Australia as we move into this future, where we're no longer going to be dealing with an opponent who outright just threatens us. There's other ways Australia can be threatened. We don't have to be just invaded. This is what a lot of people don't understand about all our spending of that. It's that you don't have to be invaded just to be threatened. China could fire missiles down here, right? They could strategically target areas and with long-range missiles, and they don't even have to invade us. They don't have to come anywhere near us. Other countries could cut off our trade routes. Let's say we have a fight with Indonesia. They could just cut off our trade routes. They don't have to beat us in one-on-one combat. They don't have to invade us. They just have to do something that threatens our sovereignty and our security. And that's what asymmetrical warfare is about. It's about noticing where your strengths lie, where the opponent's weaknesses lie, and going, how can I connect these dots? Yeah, we're less powerful than certain countries. We're smaller. We're not as heavily armed. We don't have the technology. But what we do have is the ability to find a solution. And we can make ourselves much more dangerous and increase our deterrence from a hostile attacker. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe. It really helps the channel and I greatly appreciate it.